Throughout history, the Catholic Church and the papacy have played significant roles in shaping societal norms, laws, and governance. This influence extended even to the high seas, where piracy thrived during the age of exploration and beyond. The relationship between the Church, the Pope, and piracy is a complex tale of condemnation, diplomacy, and occasionally complicity. During the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, the Catholic Church wielded immense power over European states. Popes often acted as arbitrators in disputes between kingdoms, and their moral authority was recognized across Christendom. Piracy, however, posed a unique challenge. Pirates were not only criminals, but also represented a lawlessness that threatened the maritime trade routes essential for the prosperity of many Catholic nations. The Church's stance on piracy was unequivocal. It was a sin and a crime. Popes issued several decrees condemning piracy and excommunicating those who engaged in it. In 1095, Pope Urban II, known for initiating the First Crusade, also addressed the issue of piracy by declaring that those who attacked Christian ships or ports would be excommunicated. This decree highlighted the Church's intention to protect Christian merchants and pilgrims from maritime threats. Despite these condemnations, the Church's relationship with piracy was not always straightforward. During the Crusades, Christian privateers, often sanctioned by the Church, attacked Muslim ships and ports. These privateers, or corsairs, operated under the guise of holy war, blurring the lines between sanctioned privateering and outright piracy. The papacy sometimes turned a blind eye to these activities, especially when they served broader political or religious goals. One notable instance of the Church's involvement with piracy occurred during the 16th century. Pope Clement VII sought the assistance of the infamous pirate Barbarossa to counter the threat posed by the Ottoman Empire. Barbarossa, a Muslim pirate and a Barbary corsair, was a formidable force in the Mediterranean, and Clement's alliance with him was a pragmatic decision aimed at protecting Christian territories. This unusual alliance demonstrated the complex interplay between religious principles and realpolitik. Now, the Ottoman Empire, which spanned from the late 13th century to the early 20th century, played a significant role in the history of piracy, particularly in the Mediterranean region. The empire's involvement in piracy was multifaceted, involving both support for and actions against pirate activities. This dual approach was shaped by the empire's strategic interests, geopolitical goals, and the complex relationship between state and non-state actors. One of the most notable aspects of the Ottoman Empire's involvement in piracy was its support for corsairs, or privateers. These state-sponsored pirates operated primarily in the Mediterranean and North African waters, where they targeted Christian ships and coastal settlements. The most famous of these corsairs were the Barbarossa brothers, Hayreddin, also known as Khair al-Din Pasha, and Oruk, also known as Aruj Baba, who became legendary figures in the 16th century. The Barbarossa brothers initially started as independent pirates, but later became leaders and admirals of the Ottoman fleet. Hayreddin Barbarossa, in particular, played a crucial role in expanding Ottoman naval power and securing control over the Mediterranean. Under his leadership, Ottoman corsairs captured several key territories, including Algiers and Tunis, turning them into bases for further pirate activities. The Ottoman support for corsairs served multiple strategic purposes. Firstly, it allowed the empire to weaken its Christian rivals, such as Spain and the Venetian Republic, by disrupting their trade routes and capturing their ships. Secondly, it helped to project Ottoman power and influence across the Mediterranean, reinforcing the empire's dominance in the region. Finally, the wealth acquired through piracy, including captured ships, goods, and ransom payments, contributed to the Ottoman treasury. The Ottoman Empire provided safe havens and bases for pirates along the North African coast. Cities like Algiers, Tunis, and Tripoli became notorious centers of pirate activity, often referred to as the Barbary states. These cities operated semi-independently under Ottoman suzerainty, with local rulers, known as beys or deys, collaborating with pirates to share in the profits of their raids. Algiers, being one of the most prominent pirate havens under Ottoman control, served as a major base for corsair operations, with its sheltered harbor providing an ideal location for launching and repairing pirate ships. The local rulers of Algiers maintained a complex relationship with the Ottoman Central Authority, balancing loyalty to the Sultan with their own interests in piracy. These pirate activities, based in these North African cities, had a significant economic impact on European maritime trade. Merchants and sailors faced constant threats from pirate raids on Europeans' coastal towns and ships, capturing thousands of people and goods, and leading to increased shipping costs and the need for naval escorts. The European powers, in response, launched numerous military campaigns to suppress piracy and protect their trade routes. At times, the Ottoman Empire engaged in diplomatic negotiations with European states to address piracy issues. These negotiations often involved treaties that included provisions for the release of captured sailors and the payment of ransoms. Such agreements were sometimes used by the Ottomans to extract concessions or payments from European powers. However, any military campaigns launched by the Ottoman Empire against pirate bases only suited their interests. These campaigns aimed to suppress independent pirate factions that operated without Ottoman approval and to consolidate the empire's influence over the region. The Church's role in the eventual decline of piracy was significant. One of the most notable actions was the formation of the Holy League, a coalition of Catholic maritime states created to curb piracy and protect Christian interests in the Mediterranean. The Holy League was initiated by Pope Pius V in 1571 in response to the growing threat posed by the Ottoman Empire and its support of pirate activities. The coalition included major Catholic powers such as Spain, Venice, and the Papal States. The Holy League's efforts culminated in the Battle of Lepanto on October 7, 1571. This naval battle was a decisive victory for the Holy League and marked a turning point in the fight against Ottoman and pirate threats. The victory at Lepanto significantly weakened the Ottoman naval power and reduced the threat of piracy in the Mediterranean. The battle, seen as a divine intervention and triumph of Christendom over Islam, was celebrated by the Church in art, literature, and religious ceremonies. It boosted the morale of Christians across Europe and reinforced the authority and influence of the Papal Church. Many Christian slaves who had been rowing in the Ottoman galleys were freed as a result of the battle. This act of liberation was seen as a moral and spiritual victory for the Church. In addition to military actions, the Papal Church also influenced maritime laws and regulations to combat piracy. The Catholic Church's canon law had provisions against theft and violence, which extended to the high seas. Church courts sometimes tried pirates, and ecclesiastical authorities worked with secular rulers to enforce anti-piracy laws. The Church's moral authority helped to legitimize efforts to suppress piracy and promote safer maritime trade routes. The Papal Church's involvement in diplomacy also played a role in addressing piracy. Papal envoys and representatives often mediated disputes between maritime states and negotiated treaties that included provisions against piracy. These diplomatic efforts contributed to a more coordinated approach to maritime security and helped to reduce the prevalence of piracy in certain regions. In conclusion, the relationship between the Pope, the Church, and piracy is a multifaceted one. While the Roman Catholic Church consistently condemned piracy as a sin and a crime, its involvement in maritime politics sometimes led to alliances with pirates and privateers for the greater good of Christendom. This complex interplay of morality, politics, and pragmatism underscores the Church's influential role in shaping the maritime history of the age. Through military coalitions like the Holy League, diplomatic efforts, and the enforcement of maritime laws, the Church played a crucial part in the decline of piracy and the promotion of safer seas. The defeat of the Ottoman fleet curtailed their naval dominance in the Mediterranean, marked the beginning of the gradual decline of the Ottoman maritime power, and allowed European powers, particularly Spain and Venice, to assert greater control over the region, securing safer maritime routes for Christian states. This was crucial for trade and the movement of pilgrims to the Holy Land. Do you think Christians should be involved in piracy even if they are legalized pirates called privateers? Or should only the nations be combating piracy? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that notification bell to be notified of upcoming videos. Subscribe, like, and share for more on A Cup of History.